So today's video is all about counterfeits. Counterfeit relationships. If I were to define this, I would say something around the lines of like a person or even maybe a situation that distracts you from where you need to be in the Lord. And yeah, actually, this is more than just something that pertains to kingdom marriage, where it's more than just an actual person. This can actually be a situation. Oh my gosh, I'm being convicted because I was actually going to share this in another video, but I'll expand on it in another video. But you can even do work unto the Lord thinking that you're doing what He's calling you to do, and it's actually not what He's called you to do. A lot of us fall victim to that because a lot of us don't know what we're called to do. So yeah, I think that definitely kind of fits into the whole counterfeit idea, counterfeit thing. So for the purposes of this video though, I'm going to be talking about counterfeit situation in a God-ordained, or I'll say kingdom marriage word promise. I don't know if this pertains also to God or just regular God-ordained relationships. It might. I don't know. He hasn't told me anything about that, so I have no idea. But I'm going to be talking about some key things to consider when it comes to this, as well as give you some points to try and decipher if you're in this situation, or just to be prepared, because it will come. I don't believe that it's one of those things that some people get it, some people don't. Maybe, but I have heard enough of these stories and experienced this more than once to know that it probably is something that you may experience if you have a kingdom marriage word. And I'm going to do a little story time to really drive home the point about this whole counterfeit ordeal. So, first and foremost, it's really good to know that the whole counterfeit situation is not from the Lord. First and foremost, I should say, actually, let me backtrack a second, because the Lord can test us, but the Lord won't tempt us. There's a verse that's somewhere in there. I don't know where exactly it is. I think it's somewhere in the Old Testament. But the Lord can send tests our way, but He won't tempt us. This pastor that I really admire, his name is David Diga Hernandez. He was talking about how there's a difference between testing and temptation. And he said something, I hope I can relate it. It was really profound in my opinion. He said, not every, how did he say it? Oh my gosh. Not every test is a temptation, but every temptation is a test. So an example of that would be, the Lord can test us to see what's in our hearts, and actually He does that daily. And I find that really beautiful on a personal note, because it's like every single day there's room for me to improve beyond what I can see. If I'm in communication with the Lord, He will convict me, He will correct me, He will maybe even show me what I'm doing right. Whatever the case is, there's always a renewing of myself every single day, and I love that so much. But an example of what would be a test would be if He wants to test your heart to see your giving, your attitude as far as giving. Could be money, could be your time, could be whatever the case is. He can present you with an opportunity that may or may not be convenient for you, whatever the case is. Test to see what's in your heart, how you respond. Now, that's not really like, there's really no I guess you could technically say that it would be tempting not to give, but like, there's really no like, anything that's like enticing you, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, let's just see what's in my daughter's, what's in my son's heart. Now, temptation, on the other hand, is going to be something that's going to entice you. It's going to be something that you struggled with or continue to struggle with or whatever, that you know pulls you away from God. And it's like, ooh, this is something that is just so tempting. And during that temptation, the Lord is also weighing your heart. But we're tempted apart from the Lord. We're tempted by the enemy. So the two things can work. How do you say that? Mutually exclusive or not. So I find that really interesting. Which to me gives this extra layer of, okay, if I'm being tempted, then I want to like really stand firm and not give in. I used to take this mentality of like, well, I'm being tempted, so I might as, so obviously like I have no choice but to give in, kind of. I don't know. But it's like, no, like, let me not only overcome this, but prove to the Lord that, like, you've placed a good heart in me and you've done a good work in me. So, yeah. And I said all that to say that with this situation, it is both temptation and very much a test. A real tangible example of this is Job. People may gloss over this, but the Father actually, like, basically elected Job to be tempted, to be tested. Like, it's like he's the one who said, like, hey, have you considered my servant Job, to the devil. So I always find that really interesting. Another thing to really consider in these situations is that it's something that really creeps in, the counterfeit situations. It's something that it can be really hard to detect. That's why I'm here giving these thoughts and experiences on it, because it's something that you'll just find yourself in it and you'll be like, well, now wait a minute. If you even are like thinking of it critically, it might be something that, you know, a lot of mistakes can be made, and I'm there, or I was there, and actually as I was kind of going over the notes to record this, the Lord convicted me about a situation I'm actually currently in that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, everything I'm writing down is checking off with how I'm viewing this person. I might need to back away. Now, I'm glad that he got my attention on it to this level, and by the way, after I did take it to the Lord and say, like, am I crazy, or is this potentially, like, the groundwork for it being a counterfeit situation? I felt a lot of peace with the idea of saying this is that. Prior, I said, no, it can't be that. Like, I'm over this. Like, I've learned, and there was a bit of pride in that, so I'm glad that I took it to the Lord, and I'm glad that he gave me that peace and the conviction. What was I going to say? And in addition to it creeping in, the reason why you need to be so guarded is because I don't 100% know the timeline of when things will change for me, as far as the situation with the kingdom marriage, and I don't know for you either. I do know that time is of the essence, and he's not trying to, like, have you wait and wait and wait and wait and wait just for waiting's sake. But I do believe that we can definitely delay our promises, just like the children of the Israelites in the Promised Land. We can definitely delay our promises. So it's very possible that he wants to give you your person now. He wanted to give me my person before, and I've delayed it. or you've delayed it. So this is really like, wake up, don't let this happen to you. For me, I'll just be honest, there were 3 different situations, 2 of which I failed, and 1, if I passed, I could have done better, but I did recognize it a little bit more than just, oh no, it's nothing, like blah blah blah. So yeah, like, I can't help but think that that has contributed to kind of the longevity of this situation, unfortunately, because it was a testing of my heart. And if I failed twice or 2.5 times, whatever you want to say, it really showed where my heart was at and how much renewing I still needed. Some ugly things came out of where my heart was at, and I'll be honest about it and share those stories. I think I'm just going to share one, but if you guys want the other ones, I will share those too. So just know this is something that creeps in. It's not something that you'll probably be able to detect right away. Unless you listen to this video, then you might be able to, but it can really just get you. Another 2 more points to consider is that counterfeits are different from, like, I guess, normal, how do I say this, normal distractions. For instance, say you have your word about someone, your future partner, and someone asks you on a date, and you don't really have any interest in them, find them attractive, whatever the case is. That's not a counterfeit. Don't think that that's the test, that's the counterfeit. Okay. Side note, I had said earlier that you will experience a counterfeit situation, or you probably will. What I'm being convicted of is there will be some sort of testing of your heart, regardless if it's a counterfeit situation or whatever. If he's giving you someone that he has purposed, that's perfect for you, that is from him, has your heart, has your best interests at heart, like, you've got to raise yourself to the standard. And that's part of the reason why he gives these words, because there's work to do, as I've said and I've said again. So there will be some sort of testing. If it's a counterfeit situation, this is the video for you. If it's something else, well, it'll probably be some sort of counterfeit situation, whether it be a person or an actual situation. It may be a job opportunity or something like that. Like, there's a lot of ways this can go, but there will be a testing. Whenever the Lord wants to bless you, he will always test. So that was just given to me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So, yeah. And then another little side note, sorry, is a lot of people ask, well, how do you know the difference between your counterfeit and God sent? I'm going to do a video on my personal proofs, if you want to call them that this was someone that the Lord has sent. However, if you have to question and you're really, 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 really confused, there's no, like, peace about it either way. That's not really a good sign, to be perfectly honest. I will just say, when it's a God-sent person, you will have a peace about it. You will have a peace about it. You will have a peace about it. 100%. Even if it's someone who's not meant to occupy a lot of space in your life, but just for a season, you'll have a peace about it. Even if they're just meant to teach you a lesson, like a counterfeit. It's funny, I had said the thing about it'll just creep in. These situations, they will come with a level of peace. Now, it's not God's peace, because I've felt both and there is a difference, but yeah, what was I saying? Sorry. You will have a peace about your person. If you're questioning from day one and it never changes, you're really unsure, like, really take that to the Father. So back to my main point. Counterfeits are not normal, someone just coming and asking you out, or you wanting to, I guess, getting distracted and ask someone else out, or whatever the case is. And that's important because you need to approach it differently. That's different from someone who just, comes by and they just, if you think that that's the test, if you say like, oh yeah, like someone asked me out, that's a counterfeit. Not necessarily. It might be, but not necessarily. You need to actually be strategic when it comes to counterfeits, because a counterfeit person is literally like, this might be uncomfortable to say, and this is nothing against the actual person, but it's someone who the enemy has strategically used to come against your promise, to come against whatever the promises that God has given you. So